Hello everyone, and welcome to day 2 of my Halloween 2011 card series. So for today's card, I started off with the Spellbinders candy corn dies that I had bought last year, so I don't know if they're still available anymore. And the middle section I had cut with white, and then the top and bottom I did yellow and orange cardstock with the intention that I wanted to stamp an image on the middle white piece. So I'm just using CC Designs Copic Quality 110-pound cardstock. And I stamped this little Frankenstein image from the Paper Smooches Halloweenies set. And I just stamped him with memento tuxedo black ink, and then I'm coloring him in with Copic markers. So I started off with coloring his skin, and I wanted to color it green to match the pattern paper I planned on using. So I'm using YG21, which is the lightest, and then I went in with a bit of YG23. And then here I'm adding the darkest shade with YG25. And then I blend that out a bit with the YG23. And then go back with the YG21 and blend everything together. And again, my light source is kind of coming from like the upper right hand corner. I rarely vary from that. It's just what I always do. So once I've got his face colored, I want to color his shirt purple, so I'm only using 2 markers for that, and I'm using V04 as my lighter color, and then I add a bit of depth with the V06 and just add that in, and then just blend it all together again with the V04. And then that's when I realized I hadn't colored his little hand in, so I went back in with my YG markers and quickly colored his hand. And then now I want to go in and do his hair. And I was kind of aiming for black, but obviously if you just color it solid black, it's just flat, no definition whatsoever. So I'm going in with my grays, and these are the cool grays, which to me give more of the impression of black. So I'm just using cool gray number 5, 7, and 9. So starting with the 5 and then adding darkness with the 7 and then the darkest color of 9 and then just blending it all together. Really quick and easy. And then I decided to color his little boots the same color. So again, start with the lightest, add the medium tone, and then add the darkest tone and blend everything together. Images like this are super quick and easy to color and blend and whatnot. So once I've got his little boots colored, I want to add a bit of orange to the image. So I decided to color the bottom of his little shoes and that tiny bit of his pants, I guess, peeking out orange. So I'm using YR07 and YR09. Just quick and easy, blends together, don't really have to worry about it. And then as my last coloring step, I want to ground the image so it's not just floating there. So I'm just using my C3, C1, and then C00 to blend everything, just to give it just a light bit of shading, nothing too intense or artsy or whatever, just to finish it all off. So I've got my little image colored, and then for the candy corn itself, I didn't want to leave the colored cardstock just plain. It just looked too plain. So I'm using 2 of my CuttleBug embossing folders, the skeleton scroll and the spiderweb folders, and I just ran those through my CuttleBug machine. I don't know if those folders are still available anymore or not. I've had them for at least a year or 2, I think. So once I have those embossed, I decided that I wanted the candy corn itself to have a black border around it, because with the pattern paper I chose to use, I want that to stand out a little more. And I figured out that the easiest way to do that was to tape all 3 dies that I used down onto this piece of black cardstock and then trace them out with a pencil, and then I've got a perfect border for the candy corn, like super easy. So I just cut that out with scissors, and then I plan on adhering the 3 pieces onto that. But before I do that, I decided to sponge the yellow and the orange pieces with a bit of dye ink. Again, just to give it a little more definition I find usually when I emboss things on cardstock and whatnot, I find they look too plain, so adding just a bit of sponging just kind of finishes it off. So once I'm done all my sponging, I just use my ATG gun to adhere all the pieces together and just hold them in place while I adhere each piece so that they all line up properly on the black cardstock. And then after I'd got all that done, I actually went in with my scissors and trimmed down the black cardstock just a little bit more so that it was a little more even. And now I'm on to the rest of the card. So the pattern paper I had originally started off with was the Best Craft Happy Halloween 6x6 glitter papers that I showed in my recent haul video, which as you can see are pretty busy, thus the reason for the black border around my little candy corn. So I chose to go with 3 of the different pattern papers. Really simple layout since the main image obviously takes up pretty much the entire card front. So once I have my pattern papers adhered into place, I wanted to add some ribbon, and this is just AmyR's texture ribbon, which is one of my all-time favorite ribbons. It's kind of like there's multiple shades of the same color, and it's kind of shimmery and thin and easy to tie, and I just love it. Another thing I love about it is because I store all my ribbon like this on these dowel pins, with this ribbon especially, it curls. So I've kind of gotten into a habit of leaving the tails of the ribbon longer because then they curl up like that and it just looks like really cool. So I love that. And then for the sentiment, it's also from the Paper Smooches Halloweenies set. And I'm just using memento inks to stamp it. I used grape jelly and Tangelo ink. I am really loving memento ink, especially with these clear stamps. It just covers really, really well. Unlike some of the other dye inks I've used. So 2 thumbs up definitely for the memento inks. Love them. So once I've got the sentiment stamped, I used the Stampin' Up key tag punch to punch it out. And then I decided I wanted to add just a little bit more to the little sentiment piece. So I took the little black spiderweb from the Halloweenies set, inked it up, and just stamped it on the corner of the sentiment piece. And then edged the sentiment piece itself with some black ink, again kind of similar in idea to the candy corn, just as to make it stand out a little bit more with kind of all the busyness going around on the card. So I just ran the little dewdrop ink pad just right around the sentiment piece, just quick and easy. So now I'm finally getting the card front assembled, just using my ATG adhesive to adhere the little candy corn piece. And then to adhere the sentiment, rather than glue it down, I just used a kind of larger glittery brad. That brad I think is from CuttleBug. And again, I bought that years and years ago. So I just attach that with the brad. And then before I'm done with the card front, I wanted to make this little Frankenstein character kind of match the pattern paper because the pattern paper is so glittery. I decided he needed a little bit of bling, so I went in with some diamond stickles. Yeah, diamond stickles, and added that to his little shirt so it's all sparkly and matches the pattern paper. So yeah, that was the final touch for the card front. And then on the inside of the card, I just wanted to keep it super simple. I cut down one of the other pattern papers that's super glittery and it's got its own little scene, and that's all I used on the inside. Just super simple. I didn't want to take away from that. And that was it. I really hope you guys enjoyed watching this video, and stay tuned because I will have hopefully several more over the next few days. Thanks so much for watching, guys. Bye.